Amity Global Business School, Mumbai. I welcome you all. We have, I believe, the participants have already joined in. We have some of our faculties also who are attending, and I would also like to welcome our director, Professor Pankaj Shukla sir, who is also there, who is attending this webinar. So probably in a couple of minutes we'll start, ma'am.
Students sure, not a problem.
It's 5:29. In a couple of minutes we'll start.
We'll wait for it.
Sure.
Yeah. I think you can start. I'm not able to learn.
Yes, ma'am. Shall we start?
Yeah.
All right. So, a very good evening to everyone. I, Mohit, Manager Placements. Welcome to this webinar organized by Amity Global Business School, Mumbai, Malad West. So the topic, I'm sure you must have gone through and probably researched a bit about the same. The topic what we are discussing today is demystifying emotional intelligence, harnessing the power of self. So when we talk about emotional intelligence, it is the ability to understand and manage your own emotions and those of the people around you. People with the emotional intelligence know what they are feeling, what the emotions mean, and how these emotions can affect their people. So I believe in this time of COVID-19, this lockdown, I guess this will really help us to demystify and understand what emotional intelligence is all about. To start this, we welcome our guest speaker for today, Ms. Ishita Jain, ma'am. Welcome to this webinar by EGBS Mumbai. Yeah, ma'am. So this ma'am is the founder of Divine and Fly. Like most of us, the life strategist, mind alchemist, Ishita Jain ma'am has experienced the word life and mind defined several ways. With over a versatile decade of work experience sailing through the thick and thin of her life and predominantly real life in-depth business experience with radically different views. Her dominant delivery areas include emotional intelligence that we are going to discuss today, also meta cognition, social emotional learning, diversity inclusion, goal setting, career carving, positive thinking, exceptional leadership, life management, effective communication, lessons of life, agile selling, and stress management. I think this is something we all need this at this hour. She holds a master's degree in management from JB IML, JB Jamlabal Lal Bajaj Institute of Technology. It's one of the top B schools in India, and she did a graduation in engineering in computer science as well. So welcome you, ma'am, again. Thank you so much. I request all the students, you can take the session. Whatever queries you have, you can put down in the Q&A session. So probably in the last 10-15 minutes, we are going to put up all the queries with ma'am, and she'll be able to answer you all. So I hand over to you, ma'am. Ishita Jain. Yeah.
Thanks, Mohit. Thanks for the introduction. Good evening, everyone. It's a pleasure to be with all of you in this quarantine period of self-care. As Mohit said, for the next 45 to 50 minutes, we'll uncover how much power lies within us, which goes untapped if we just doesn't notice it. So I would like to thank all of you and congratulate all of you for the time that you have given to me in this self-discovery and taking the very first step towards exploring your journey towards emotional intelligence. So, shall we start? I would like to share my screen first. Just a second. Is my screen visible to each one of you? Can we start?
The screen is visible very much.
Okay. So, ever since 2020 has started, we are witnessing a historic event of COVID-19, an event that has displaced everything what we assumed to be available infinitely to us sometime back. I know each one of us has our own set of fear and anxiety, but I feel this is a defining moment in time for us. We have two choices. Either we keep on losing hope, or we rise above our challenges and see what we can do in this current challenging time. We have to be mindful in the present situation. Every next moment that is coming is the future, and every moment past is drained down in history. So use your time wisely. This is your time to reset. This is the time to restart. This is the time to reignite, to redesign the things that you love. Friends, this is the time to re-engage, to repeat, and the time to recommit. Make sure that you make most of this time. As you all can see on your screen, the brief agenda of our session, what I'll do is I'll touch upon the concepts of emotional intelligence, breaking it down to its core foundations, and why is this emotional intelligence important in our workplace, and we'll give you actionable tips to present it in your daily life. And then at the end of the webinar, Mohit and I will take up your questions. So of late, we all have realized that cognitive intelligence is no more the only weapon of success. To steer our lives, we need to ride on our raging emotions. And with this pandemic of COVID-19, being adaptable is no more a choice. So just to give you a glimpse, IQ defines how smart you are, whereas EQ defines how well you use the smartness that you have. And AQ, it defines if you can adapt, evolve, and survive. Just for your reference, adaptability is our ability to reconfigure ourselves in response to a change. I hope you all can notice the complex interplay for these intelligences. Absence of any one of these makes you restricted in respective competence. Now, as we are connecting this session virtually, so if possible, I would request all of you to close your eyes for next 13 seconds and count your breath so that we can resonate our emotions and start afresh. Let's do a soft reset to our mind before we take our clarion call to self-awakening. So let's radiate our positivity with strength together so that we all can feel our mutual presence despite this uncanny distance. As you feel your breaths, think and connect the dots. What brings you here today? Use your mind's canvas to paint thoughts you would like to take from today's investment you're going to make. This investment just needs your promise to grow exponentially. Promise yourself that you'll walk with an awakened soul, a person who has cognizance of his or her emotions, and a person who is contented and takes challenges head on. So let's spin the wheel to the session as you all open your eyes and we are ready to take our voyage deep diving in the sea of emotions. Emotions, they are just like seasons. They are always in the background. On your screen, you can see 6 basic emotions, which are happiness, surprise, anger, sadness, fear, disgust. Research has found that these emotions are experienced by everyone, irrespective of their culture and background. Moreover, studies show that there are wide differences in the way people experience different set of emotions. Also, since everybody has a different personality, we all think, feel, perceive things differently. Emotions are highly subjective. So, how I experience a particular situation will be completely different to the way in which you experience the same situation. Many times it happen at our work that you may feel angry, but for the same situation, the other person may feel frustrated or gloomy or annoyed. So the feeling is same, but the way you are naming the emotion, the way your body is experiencing it and expressing it is different. Interestingly, emotions blend together much like color. Complex emotions are like different shades of combination of basic emotions. I would like to bring it to your notice two very interesting complex emotions, which are guilt and anticipation. Why are they complex and unique is because guilt have a time component and even anticipation has a time component. But what is the difference is guilt is associated with something we did in the past, whereas anticipation is associated with a future event. Emotional intelligence is not catching or suppressing emotions as they begin to surface or begin about nice to everyone. Rather, emotional intelligence is about bringing emotions to the surface and using them in a way that can drive solutions forward, doing the right thing and making the right decision. Before we move forward, Rahul, if you can hear me, can we have the first poll, please?
Rahul, can we have the poll?
Yeah, we have. So let's take a small activity. I'm sure everybody knows that we have a certain mood at a given period of time and it is dependent on multiple factors. Let's understand our pleasantness. Are you feeling happy right now or feeling as if you're bored? So, participants, I would like you to rate this. Give yourself a +5 if you're high on energy or a -5 if you're feeling low on energy. You can see the question on your screen and choose what option describes you best. Please go ahead. I'll give you 13 seconds to fill this first question. And now that you have identified yourself in terms of your mood, let's move on to the second part of the exercise. We all are aware colors are vibrant and can change someone's mood if set right. Let's create our mood meter. Consider four colors: yellow, green, blue, and red. Select the color that suits your mood at this point in time. 13 seconds. If you're happy and high on energy, yellow is the color for you. Those who feel happy about today but somehow are missing on energy, color is green. Anyone here feeling unpleasant but the energy is very high, go ahead and select red. If someone is feeling unpleasant and even energy wise you are low, then blue is the choice for you. Choose which option describes you best. Just 10 seconds. And then Rahul, you can publish once the poll is submitted. Rahul, can we have the results of the poll? Rahul?
Rahul, are we there?
Meanwhile, what we'll do is till the time Rahul will publish the results of the poll, I hope that each one of you has submitted your result. In with chat also, students, friends, you can type in and say that yes, you have submitted it. Okay.
I think that holding is it.
Yes, yes. So, as we all can see, most of us are high on energy. And I'm very glad that from color perspective also we have selected yellow. So we are happy and very excited about this session. Great. This even motivates me. Now let's move on to the next activity. Can you imagine a single word that can describe your feeling right now? Choose your language to express it, but within next 3 seconds, type in that single word that describes what you're feeling now. The catch is 3-second time frames. Go ahead. I want to see how many of you can name your feeling right now. Confused, wondering. Okay, looking at the responses in chat window, I believe more than 75% of us has a hard time finding the same. Active, happy, Ruchi is lost. Oh, I hope by the end of the session you'll be able to find yourself, Ruchi. I can help you in some way. So, looking at the responses in the chat window, I believe more than 50% of us has a hard time finding the same. It is not something which requires a very different skill set, but it's more of being aware. I hope that you all will agree to me that we all love tea and coffee. Let's take an example of tea and coffee. So for some, even a single sip means to identify the fragrance, strength, color, taste. While for others, it may be you're just sipping another cup of tea or coffee. What's so big deal about it? So the fact of matter, friends, is awareness, being aware. It's more like having clarity of thoughts around our feelings and moods. This labeling of why and awareness of what to label is the primo step to practice EQ. So what I have done through this polling is indirectly I have taken you to all components of EI, that is emotional intelligence. We need to understand how we can improve the emotional intelligence and bring awareness into our own being. The absolute essence of emotional intelligence is emotions. It's all about emotions. So simply put, emotional intelligence is your ability to identify what are you feeling, why are you feeling it, and how your feelings affect you and those around you. So, emotional intelligence is the way that you combine your thinking with your feelings to make better quality decisions and to build authentic relationships. I'll take a pause. I hope everyone was able to understand and grasp at least a bit of what is EI before we move forward further. So, shall I move forward? Going to the next slide. Emotional management involves emotional awareness, reading emotions and understanding emotions and capabilities around choice, making choices around emotions. So if emotional level is low and emotional management is also low, people will find the climate demotivating, disengaging, and apathetic. But if emotional level is high and your emotional management is low, people will be impulsive, coercive, and disruptive. If emotional level is low, but your management, the way you manage your emotions is high, people will be organizing, productive, and considerate. Where emotional level is high and management is high, people will be working in an engaging way. It will be inspiring and energizing. I feel now you all can relate why EQ is so important these days. Today, we all live in a phase where we are at home 24/7 and we have massive amounts of ways to be connected with our family, with ourselves, but people actually feel less connected than ever before. We have rising stress levels, and with rising isolations and the social distancing, people are struggling to handle all the noise of the current environment. With the help of emotional intelligence, we all can maintain, control, lower stress levels, and stay motivated. As you can see on the slide, it's interesting to note that organizations as a whole benefit when employees are emotionally intelligent. You know, about 43% of the HR managers identified that increased morale and motivation is the greatest benefit of having workers with high emotional intelligence. The other benefits include things like improved leadership, certainly better collaboration, and effective conflict resolution. I hope now at least you'll get some idea why we need to pay attention to this intelligence, emotional intelligence, which is talk of the town today. So, if we talk about how these emotions work, the human brain is an amazing tool. It has three layers of increasing sophistication. Each layer serves two functions, physiological and psychological. And if we understand from the psychological point of view, it's the way in which our brain processes information. When considering the psychological function of the human brain, it's possible to divide it into the following areas. Our most basic level is reptilian brain. This reptilian brain is tied to our survival. It is constantly reading our environment for signs of danger. And when it sees any danger, the amygdala kicks off the fight or the flight response. I'm sure most of us have experienced this. It's not pleasant, but it does prepare the body to literally escape or face the danger. As you all can see, the mid portion is the limbic brain, which is also known as the emotional brain. Again, our survival is tied to this portion because we need to be able to connect with others, care for our young, and navigate social groups. This layer sorts for broad emotional categories like happiness, sadness, love, disgust, basically all the emotions which we have seen earlier in our slides. So moving further, the outer portion of the brain is the neocortex, which is our thinking brain, also known as the executive center, where we carry on logical analysis and effective decision making. It allows us to have thoughts about emotions and to tune into more subtle indicators than the other layers can do. Both are IQ and EQ. They reside in this rational or thinking brain named neocortex. So each region has a different purpose, as we have seen, but they all connect to give us a magical feelings, thoughts, and actions which we experience daily. So when our reptilian brain kicks off, it literally shuts down the functions of the other portions of our brain, along with many other physical changes to prepare the body for battle. This would be fine if the amygdala only fired off when we were truly in danger, like say during a car accident or a robbery. But the problem is that our own personal history shapes our amygdala and what it sees as danger. For example, if any one of you was attacked by a dog in your early ages, then you know what? It will reflect his amygdala. So this amygdala would kick off every time you see a dog, even though he loves dog. The fight or flight response, which I talked just 5 or 10 seconds before, is beyond our control and frankly problematic at times. People can set off our amygdalas. If your boss reminds you of someone who harmed you, your poor amygdala could be going off every day at work just when you see the face of your boss. Now, it's always the full-blown heart racing reaction associated with your survival, but amygdala can also just send out a trickle, a high alert signal if you can realize. This creates a more subtle physical reaction, like a knot in your stomach or a clenched jaw. Other people can't usually see this, but you can surely feel it internally. Now, this entire thing is called the amygdala hijack. I'm sure you all have experienced in past, but you might not have paid attention to what is happening in your body and around your body and how you're responding to the situation. So this amygdala hijack literally makes us incapable of any kind of intelligent action, emotional or otherwise. Now, you may be wondering, how does this relate to leading with emotional intelligence? What do I have to do if amygdala hijack actually lowers both your emotional quotient and intelligence quotient, making us engage in behaviors we later regret? How do we maintain the energy levels of our emotion? Like, how do we behave when we are angry, when we are afraid of something, or when someone comes in front of us and we hate that person literally, but how do we stay calm? How do we relax in that particular moment? So, for example, a normally professional colleague gets heated and yells at the team. The fight reaction, you'll react at that very moment. But if your EQ is high, then a usually confident colleague becomes withdrawn during a meeting. The flight reaction, it may happen that you are well prepared, even at the time of presentation in your class, you're well prepared with your slides and all, but while giving presentation, you just go blank on platform. I hope that most of you will agree with me so far. Audience, please try to make your presence feel by chatting, by typing in something, so that you know that I'm going on the flow and you all are there with me. And is it slow or fast? Do you want me to pause for some time and explain it to you with a slower pace? It's a dialogue, it's a dialogue between you and me. So I really want it to be very interactive. Okay, thanks. Thanks, Avinash. Thanks, Mohit, for responding to me. Thanks, Dr. Ginny. So please do keep on typing something, so that I can feel your presence. Thank you, Sonia. Thanks. Okay, so moving further, on your screen, you can see different components of emotional intelligence. The 5 key components of emotional intelligence identified by Daniel Goleman, a psychologist and author who helped popularize emotional intelligence by developing this framework of EI. Number 1 is self-awareness. Number 2 is self-regulation, then empathy, social skills, and finally motivation, which is at the center of all the components. So skills in these areas provide the foundation for habits that are useful for success. These skills can be enhanced with focused, quality training at any time in life. Now let us see what each component has. First, the first area is self-awareness. Self-awareness basically focuses on how well you know yourself, including your values, your strengths and weaknesses in comparison to how others perceive you. Please make a note of this thing, not just how you feel, but how others perceive your strengths and weaknesses and the values that you portray in your life. This part refers to being emotionally aware about how this affects your performance and the way in which you interact with others. The next area, it is self-regulation. Self-regulation is all about managing your emotions and impulses. It's like regulating your actions in productive and healthy ways. Taking calculated decisions without getting carried away. It's all about your willpower. I hope you all will agree. If you don't have willpower, then no one could help. Only you, it's only we that we can help ourselves and nobody else can help us. So next is empathy. And I think this entire COVID 2019 situation is revolving around this very important term of empathy. So what is this empathy? It is basically like taking a third person view of the situation. It's about understanding others' perspective without being cynical. The ability to put yourself in someone else's shoes. In fact, empathy, in professional life, whether you're following it in sales department or marketing department or HR department, this empathy plays a crucial role if you want to build trust with your client, if you want to take him into confidence and persuade to pitch your product. And even in family, if we see in our relationships, for successful and happy relationships, empathy plays a crucial role. Next, social skills are all about influencing and persuading others, leading and managing through collaboration and resolving conflict. Whether you're working with people on a one-to-one basis in your presentations during your college life or in small groups at the time of your workplace when you're conducting any project or anything, or even in large groups, or even when during social events. So the social skills also plays a crucial role. And finally, Motivation is the drive to work. If you all have everything, you're aware about all your weaknesses and strengths, but you're not motivated enough, then nothing is of use. So, motivation is the drive to work, the desire to achieve, and the drive to succeed. It's like an optimistic approach to face any situation and enjoy what you do while working to achieve your goals. And it is different from person to person. During this COVID-19, many of you might have felt that, the gym has stopped. We cannot go outside in malls. We cannot go outside in restaurants. So how do we spend our weekends? How do we spend our weeks, days in the week where what should we do 24 hours? So some of you may be motivated that, okay, this is the time when I need to take charge of my life. Let it be any portion of my life, whether it's a spiritual question or my wellness question or my happiness question or my intellectual question. I can take charge of it and work on it. This is the time for me. Or in other cases, it may be the case that, few of you might say, I'm just waiting and I'm just hoping when this social distancing ends, when the lockdown ends and I move out and I enjoy. So, it's all about how you feel. It's all about how you train your mind. So, motivation is just the propensity to pursue goals with high energy and persistence. Now, I'll just like to read what Indranil has said, social distancing. Indranil, I'll definitely take this question at the end of the webinar. So I'll just request Mohit to take note of this question and we'll definitely take it when the webinar ends, okay?
Yes, ma'am, done.
Yeah, okay. So moving forward, your emotional intelligence encompasses what goes on in your world. The inner world is what goes on inside your head. It involves self-awareness, which leads to how you control yourself and your emotions. Self-awareness is about how aware you are of your strengths and your limitations and the impact that these can have on you as well as on other people. Self-regulation is about how you control yourself, how you control your emotions, and the ability that you have to think before you act. And this self-regulation is very important in COVID-19 especially. The impact on how you behave in the outer world, influencing how you empathize with other people and how you use social skills, this is what people see generally, right? This is what people experience. This is what people know about you and also about your emotional intelligence if it is reflected and they can feel if you are emotionally intelligent or not. The outer world of empathy is all about how well you understand other people and their perspectives. How well you can see things from their viewpoint and not just be rigid with your own point of view. So we can say that empathy drives social skills. And these involve how well you communicate and interact with others on a one-to-one basis or when you're working in teams. So you can see that the awareness about yourself and the awareness of others, this leads to the actions and behaviors around your emotional management and how you interact with other people. So I would like to bring it to your notice in emotional intelligence, both the competencies are very important. Self-awareness along with social awareness. Emotional intelligence is about awareness of yourself and others through understanding and empathy. It is also about action and behavior, controlling yourself, regulating your emotions so that you can relate to others to build a better and a healthy life and effective relationships. And mind you, none of this will work without the right attitude, the right drive and motivation. Motivation is all about how you motivate yourself and how you motivate other people. Now, there is one famous model of 6 seconds. 6 Seconds is a global not-for-profit organization which is working in the field of emotional intelligence with an extremely good reputation. They basically research emotions in learning and performance, and then they translate the science into practical tools that create value in your academic and even in organizations. So this 6-second model of emotional intelligence, as you can see, is very simple. It can be understood by anybody, whatever is their age. The first component is know yourself. It's all about knowing yourself through your feelings, how you recognize your feelings, your patterns in your feelings, and how you use this information and the information contained in emotions. So, we all have heard that we all know about the word intimacy, that, you have a close connect with your partners, with your family. But have you ever wondered that you can be intimate with your own self? I will give you another thing. How can I define intimacy? For me, intimacy is into me, I see. Are you all getting it? Into me, I see. So, what I see in myself, what I know about myself, how do I feel about myself? How do I read my own feelings? Do I keep a journal of my thoughts? Let it be by writing in a diary or by typing in a notepad, or even, these days we try to keep thinking a lot. Our brain keeps on talking continuously, the chatter is there. So, what we can do is, if you feel bored that you don't want to write, you can just simply record. You can have an audio journal where, you are speaking whatever your mind is saying to you. So, this way you can become more aware. The next component is give yourself. This is all about applying your thinking to working empathetically with others and their emotions in pursuing goals that are ethical and noble. Please take a note of it, ethical and noble. So you need to give yourself by keeping your values intact with you. Third, the final component is to choose yourself, particularly around how you act, what actions you take through your thinking, and through navigating emotions. This third component considers optimism and motivation and focuses on the consequences of the action that is taken. So, all these three, they work together with each component by influencing the other. The core components, if you can see, is feeling, thinking, and acting. All three works in alignment, means what we do is about knowing how to work with and use information, emotional information. Why we do it. It's about giving yourself, having the thought through the consequences. And how we do is about choosing the right actions. All of these work together to give you your emotional intelligence. So, whenever I take sessions on purpose driven mindset, I always tell people that you always know that what I want to become, but nobody ever gives it a thought why I want to become what I want to become. So, can we all do the reverse engineering and see why I want to do this particular thing only in my life? Why only this goal? What will be the impact of this goal if I pursue it further? What impact will it create on me as well as in society? What will be the contribution of you towards your own life, towards your family, towards your extended friends, and towards the society as a whole? So it's very crucial from the point of view of purpose driven mindset also. And one more thing that I always tell my audience and participants is that we all try to manage our time. We all try to manage our stress. We all try to manage our projects within the deadlines, how we can strategize things and how we can get things work done. But unless and until you don't manage your thoughts, nothing will happen. So, it all starts with your thought management. The moment you start managing your thoughts, everything will follow with their own sweet pace. Now, moving further, let's see how we can boost EI. But before boosting EI, I would like to ask you all again, are we on the same page? Okay. I need interactions with others also, please. Prerna is saying yes, ma'am. Ruchi is saying yes. It's in sync. is virtual. So, I want that each one of us feel our presence. That is the thing I want you all to understand, that, if I try to engage with you, if I try to make it more interactive, then you'll be able to grasp what I'm saying. Otherwise, it will be just I'm giving you gyan and you're listening to me. So I want you all to share your positivity. Come on, pass on your radiance. Pass on your radiance to others also and to me also. Motivate me also so that I can continue further. Rakshita, Pankaj, Mohsin. Thank you. Thanks. Okay. So I think now we have brief idea of what is emotional intelligence. Now let us see how we can boost our emotional intelligence. I'll just give you 6 basic steps to improve your EI. It is not complicated. You can do anywhere. You don't need a special trainer for this thing. So what you need to do is, if I say that, okay, now I know what is emotional intelligence, I know its meaning, I know about the framework, but how do I apply it in my own life? So it's important to note that whichever steps I'll tell you now, they look very, very simple. You'll say that, it's very simple, I'll do it. I may be doing it, ma'am, you don't know. But get it in my writing. All these steps, however simple they look on the superficial level, they take a lot of commitment and a lot of dedication. So just recollect the promise that you did with yourself in that meditation, which we did for 13 seconds, and take charge of your life. Now we are marching towards taking charge of our life in this period of social distancing. See, people have asked us to follow social distancing, but I believe you all will agree with me that nobody asked you to follow social stagnation. Nobody asked you to do service stagnation. Nobody asked you to do contribution stagnation. Nobody asked you to do growth stagnation. And most important, even Pradhan Mantri ji, Narendra Modi ji said during one of Man Ki Baat that, social distancing does not mean emotional distancing. Please take a note. In social distancing, emotional connectedness is more important than it was ever before. So, the first step, I am responsible for my own feelings. Remember, I said, into me I see. Stand in front of the mirror daily morning and do this exercise. Before sleep also you can do. Anytime, whenever you feel you want to talk yourself, a lot of negative voices going around you, start it. I am responsible for my own feelings. I am responsible for my own behavior. Stop blaming others. Stop giving excuses. I always have choices about how I respond to situations, to events, and to people. No one can make me upset. No one can angry me. No one can make me happy or experience any other emotion unless I choose to allow them to do so. Agree? Do we all agree? Identifying my choices empowers me to take a fresh look at my behavior. It might have been possible that, before you would not have, you may be experiencing this, but you may not have paid attention towards all these things. So, this empowerment is very crucial, this self-empowerment, and it all starts with self-awareness. Next, recognizing my range of choices is an excellent way to start changing my behavior for the better. Can you all promise me how we can do this? Is it very simple? Can we practice this? Just imagine yourself, the center image is of yourself. So just imagine yourself, you're having a view of things around you and how you can take charge of simple things. Right? Great. So now, moving on to the other slide. How do we embrace this emotional intelligence? Mohit, please take note of all these questions. Participants, I'll definitely come back to your questions and I'll answer you at the end of the webinar. Just in the paucity of time, I'll quickly take you to the last 2 slides and then we'll have a Q&A session for sure.
Sure.
So next, embracing emotional intelligence. How can we practice EI? First, consciously tune into your emotions. When you have been ignoring your emotions for years, it can be quite challenging to tune into them. Notice what is happening in your body with each emotion. Are you smiling or clenching your teeth? How does your stomach feel like? Are we feeling frustrated or angry or shy? Coming out of these different sensations, we can also be thinking about how the sensations tell us about the context we are in and what's at stake in the particular situation. So, it all begins with scanning your body, which gives you the subtle clues always. Next, look at the layers of feelings. Frequently, when people experience an emotion, they focus on the most obvious or the most intense emotion. For example, in an argument, it's easy to notice that you're angry, but there are other feelings that surround this argument also. Just if you ignore anger, what is the next feeling that is happening in the same environment? Maybe you're feeling scared. Maybe someone is feeling anxious because of this argument. Maybe you're feeling lonely. That is why you're angry. Maybe you're feeling unloved like a child. These emotions can happen at the same time. One doesn't cancel the other one out. It's just that we focus on one emotions, but we need to take the holistic view about what is happening around me. They all exist together. Third, what else am I feeling? So fourth, consider being more optimistic, but in a realistic way. When you're caught up in a situation that don't seem to be going right, it's easy to become quite pessimistic. This can limit your thinking, especially if your options seem limited. Sometimes it may be reasonable, useful to be sad or critical, scared or helpless, but you're not likely to solve the problem if you stay in that state. You need to take charge of it. So the secret lies in realistic optimism, and this relates with this COVID-19 also. So you need to allow yourself to feel these feelings and use these to clarify the problem. So this will enable you to create new options for finding solutions. Acknowledge the seriousness of the problem, but at the same time, consider alternatives from a realistic perspective so that you're ready to take the challenge what lies next to the bridge of this COVID-19. What is it that you need to learn, strengthen, or to get some help with so that you can implement these solutions? Are there any people who can help you out there? Books, websites through which you can go and empower yourself? Last, ask yourself if this is a factual issue or a relational issue. You'll be able to process factual issue information easily as your brain will be trained by now, and they'll analyze data at college or at work. So emotional data about the impact on people in relationships, this is very important if you want to build your skills to consider these. What it will, and most important is by embracing all these things, how will be the impact? What will be the impact this will create if you practice and if you embrace emotional intelligence in your life? Now, why do, if I can just summarize yourself, I can just give you a summary of the webinar, why emotional intelligence underpins effective performance, the way it affects our interpersonal relationships and leadership. It's a fundamental to success in most areas, be it at your work, be it at your academic life. So, this should form the basis of all soft skills training. In fact, if you're aware, this is one of the top 5 soft skills of 2020 as the research has been done. So it is very crucial that you pay attention to this emotional intelligence, as it is an integral part of leadership skills, communication skills, motivation, change management, the way you work with your team, how resilient you are, the way you mentor others, problem solving and decision making, influencing and persuasion, empathy, conflict resolution, mindfulness. So with this, I would like to end it with the quote of Aristotle. it's very easy to get angry, but to be angry with the right person at the right time and for the right purpose and in the right way, that is not easy. So, training people to use their emotions in an appropriate and effective way is not easy. Mohit, can we go for the question and answers now?
Sure, ma'am. So, we can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Sure. So we have this question from Indranil.
Okay.
He says, if you can see the chat also.
Okay.
Says, how to develop self-assessed, ask yourself, emotion meter within ourselves,
Okay.
becoming more
Okay.
emotionally intelligent. This is by Indranil.
Okay. So, Indranil, I'll give you a very simple 5 questions that you can ask yourself. Just try to be more aware and see how you react, how you behave. And also, I like to say is not just yourself, take feedback from others also. For example, am I open to criticism? How do I take criticism? Do I take it in a constructive way? Do I take charge of my life? How do I react if someone praises me? Do I acknowledge others? Do I show gratitude towards what life has? And do I panic? These are just simple questions that you can answer. But for all this, you have to be true to yourself. Just be true to yourself and ask all these questions. Just go on writing and see, so far, how am I behaving in my life? And along with this, try to take a 360-degree feedback from your closed circles also. Let it be your peers or let it be your friends or your family members. You can ask them that, I feel I'm very good in getting feedback and praising others. Do you also feel the same? Do you feel I'm very empathetic? I understand whatever you're saying. So, it is very important that you be true to yourself and at the same time you are open to take feedback from others, how they see you, how they see your actions. And then, yes, then you can see how you can rate yourself and then you can start, okay, I need to be more aware about this thing. I need to work on this. So we can definitely do it. I hope I answered your question on a superficial level. I didn't go into deep, but just in the simple way. Sure.
Thank you, ma'am. So we have next question from Baruneshwar Tripathi. He asks, how to control negative emotions? I guess this is something, a common question coming from everyone.
Okay. So if I can say, in fact, I've started the series of emotional intelligence on my YouTube channel on Dive and Fly, wherein I have started taking 4-5 minutes session, 4-5 minutes videos I've started sharing on all these things. And the very common thing that we all are experiencing in this COVID-19 is the way we are checking the statistics every now and then, how globally the pandemic has affected us, what will happen to me, what will happen to my closed ones, what will happen to my career, about your job insecurity, about your financial transaction, financial situation that is there on the other side of this COVID-19. So 24/7 emotional data is getting feeded into our mind. But we need to filter it out. It is from the self-regulation point of view. We need to filter it out, these negative emotions, You need to realize what I can control and what I cannot control. So what is it that is under influence of me and what is it that is not in my control? If you want that, I can show you one slide over here. Just a second. I'll show you one slide. I have included it in my video also, but because of the paucity of time, I was not able. But I feel this question is very important. And yeah, just a second. Can you all see this thing? What I can control and what I cannot control? Mohit, can you all see? Okay. So, all the time we are worried about these negative emotions. Instead of taking charge of the situation, we are just wasting our time and losing our hope, and we are becoming pessimistic by thinking how long will this pandemic last? What is the motive of other people? How others will react? what will happen, the actions of others, what are the rules of social distancing and all. But I think to shut down all these negative emotions, you need to know how to stay calm. You need to know how to balance your emotions. So, what you need to do is you need to think, okay, how can I change my attitude? Fine, my mind is shutting. Can I say, can you stop? Can you take a pause? It's time I work on my positive attitude. So it's in your hand. You can actually shut down your brain who is thinking about negative things all the time. So you just need to be concerned about your own self and what all things you can control. And this way, I'm sure you'll be able to, take charge of your life and stop these negative emotions and become more positive. What another thing you can do is daily 1 minute exercise, which you can do is stand in front of the mirror whenever negative emotions comes. Just say, what is the good thing about you? What thing you appreciate about this situation? How grateful are you towards others of this present moment? So think about the positive things, and your confidence will automatically boost up. So the very important thing is how you are talking to yourself. What are you feeding in your emotional database? Are you getting it? I hope I answered this question.
Sure. Thank you, ma'am. There is one more question from Nitika Arora.
Okay. Okay.
And she asked, can we use catharsis as an effective form of self-awareness? Can we use catharsis as an effective form of self-awareness?
Yes, you can. See, I believe it's all, as I said, into me I see. So, how you want to become self aware, that is totally dependent on you. Someone may become more mindful of the situation by practicing meditation. Someone may become more mindful of the situation just by visualizing what is happening around them. And for some others, it may be any kind of practice that makes them more linked with their own inner self. So it is totally up to you what you feel comfortable and how you can practice it. You can definitely go ahead and use it for your self awareness.
Sure.
Question.
And there is one more question on the anxiety part.
Okay.
With social distancing becoming a reality and our social interactions decreasing on a day-to-day basis, how to get past the crippling anxiety when things seems hopeless, where self-regulation might be perceived to be difficult. So currently, in comparison to how the current pandemic is being. This also, I will put it on behalf of student community as well, wherein they would also be thinking how the market is going to be for the next 6 months, 8 months.
Sure. So, if I may, I would like to take the experience of my own life journey. Just to bring it to your notice, when I passed out of my engineering college in 2008, if you all are aware, it was one of the biggest global recession of its own time. So I passed at that time when the situation of economy was very dicey. Things were not that good. But I somehow had confidence in me. And, I'll also tell you one more example of this anxiety. I'll just correlate with my personal experience. When I was in my 11th standard, on the second day of college, my dad died. And at that time, my coachings were going on. But, and I was very taken aback because of his just sudden demise. But, on the very third day, I was there right at the coaching institute attending my physics lecture. And I still remember my professor had tears rolling down in his eyes, and he was saying, Ishita, how can you be here? I was not expecting you to be here the way you were so close to your dad and all. And I told him one thing. I don't, at that time, mind you, I was not even aware of what is emotional intelligence, what is empathy and all. I was not aware of anything. But I just told him one thing, sir, whatever has happened, it's a very biggest setback in one's life. This is the worst thing that could have happened with anyone, with me, with my family. But I need to prepare for what lies ahead. What is next for me? If I'll just keep on sobbing and crying and I'll be at home, nothing will happen. How will I face the world? So, same lies with this pandemic also. My sister stays in US, and we all are worried about the growing numbers and statistics that is happening, and even in India, the way it is spreading. But we all need to be thankful and be aware that at least in India, we are having that much facilities. We are the way government is working, the way your education staff has, like, I would really like to acknowledge and congratulate the academic institutes, how they have changed this digitization in a fraction of second, and they have changed the way you all study. So everyone is taking efforts to make you realize that you're not alone in this pandemic. We all are there. So instead, focus on the positive sides. This is the best time you can be with your family. This is the best time you can learn whatever you want to learn. You can unlearn. So unlearn, learn, and relearn. If you want to prepare yourself for the coming recession, if I may say, I know that the situation is not so honky dory. So just prepare yourself, connect with people on LinkedIn, see what is happening around the world, what all technical skill sets or what all skill sets you need, so that you will be always a beta performer, best version of yourself. So try to work on all these things rather than just worrying what will happen, what will not happen. Just see, okay, this is the worst thing that can happen. Do I have a plan B for this? Do I have a plan C? If not this, then what? If not this, then what? So no matter what happens, it is your attitude, your confidence, and the belief with which you can do things. So I'm sure each one of us, this is the only way we can keep our anxieties at bay, and start looking at the positive side and be optimistic that things will settle down. Good times will come again. Challenges will make us more stronger. I hope I answered.
Yes, very well, ma'am. Can we have a last question, if you permit?
Yeah, sure.
So there is one question by Samarpita Saha.
Okay.
Again, what can be rightly chosen during dilemma between two thoughts in a mind?
Between two thoughts?
Two thoughts in a mind. What can be rightly chosen? So it's like between the two wrong, which is the correct.
Between the two wrong, which is the correct. Okay.
This is what I
would like to. Yeah, sure. So whenever we talk about feelings, whenever we talk about emotions, we often try to label them. This is a positive emotion. This is a negative emotion. This is a positive thought. This is a negative thought. So whenever your mind has multiple thoughts in it, and you're not sure which one is right, which one is wrong, I'll tell you what I practice in my life. I'm not aware of about others. I just ask one question to myself: what is the impact of this thought on me and on others? So just try to rate. Just take a paper and then draw the chart and just see thought A, thought B. What will be the implication if I do this thought A? What will be the implication if I accept and proceed with this thought B? So you'll have a clear picture right in front of you, and you'll be able to decide, okay, so on the basis of all the calculations and assumptions, you can see which one seems better and what does your gut say. I always say I go by my gut feeling. Never stop that thing. Just see what your gut says. Close your eyes, visualize the possibility of outcome. You can visualize till whatever extent you want to, and then you will know, you'll get the answer. Which one is the best thought that I can keep? The dilemma, whenever many people of us have that dilemma. Can I do this? Can I do this? Or can I do, like, I won't be able to do this. So just think about the impact. Just think about the present outcome of that thing. What will be the outcome, and you'll have the answer. Just do that exercise. And I always say that instead of just talking, take a pen and pencil and jot down your thoughts. Jot down your thoughts, whatever is coming in your mind. By the end of the page, you will realize all this was nonsense. Only two thoughts were important for me. I hope I answered the question, Mohit.
Yes, ma'am. Very well. Very well. Great. So I believe this is the end of the session. Any more questions you may put, participants, or we are actually through to the session. Okay. All right. I guess this is it, ma'am. Thank you so much. Okay. To last words for our participant, that we need to work on our AQ, adaptability quotient, in this pandemic. Use our neocortex brain and limbic brain to control on our emotion and feeling, and not let our amygdala hijack. That is something that we need to take care. So I'm sure it was a great learning session for me, for you as well, for the participants. Thank you so much, ma'am. On behalf of Amity Global Business School, Mumbai, I thank you. On behalf of our director, Professor Pankaj Shukla, sir, I thank you for enlightening us with these wonderful thoughts, and hope to have you and more sessions ahead. So thank you so much, every participant. The faculty is there, and it was a pleasure having you, ma'am. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thanks a
I
lot.
also want to thank our IT support, Mr. Rahul Chavla from Noida, for making sure all the technicalities were in place. Thank you so much.
Rahul, thanks a lot for that polling exercise. Huh? I was dependent on you for that. So thanks.
Thank you, Rahul. Thank you. Thank you, guys. Thank you so much. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you. Thanks.